Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, the Catholic Church slams the so-called pattern of intimidation as the anti-terrorism law takes effect, and more petitions challenging the controversial measure filed at the Supreme Court. Also, is it the end of the road for television giant ABS-CBN, or can People's Initiative be used to grant the network a brand new franchise? With coronavirus cases in the country hitting record highs in the recent weeks, we look into the government's response into the COVID-19 pandemic. Senate President Tito Sotto joins us live. Various groups led by the Bagong Alyansang Makabayan Movement Against Tyranny and Karapatan filed online the 10th plea against the anti-terrorism law. The petitioners are asking the High Court to strike down the entire law for being unconstitutional. Meantime, congressmen who were behind the rejection of ABS-CBN's franchise aren't done yet. Among the issues they want to probe next are the alleged questionable ownership of ABS-CBN's compound in Quezon City and the operations of Big Dipper and Amcara Broadcasting. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senate President Tito Sotto. Senate President Sotto, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, Pinky, and good morning to everyone.
You know, Senator, in the past week, Senate President, in the past weeks or even the past months, there have been several protests on two things mainly, the anti-terror law, and the other, of course, is a shutdown of ABS-CBN. I want to start with the anti-terror law. A 10th petition was filed against this. Are you even looking at or even considering this growing concern regarding the law, sir?
Well, I know for a fact that there is nothing unconstitutional in the law. We, in fact, even during the drafting and the amendments and during the period of interpellations, the committee consulted constitutionalists, and we consulted experts, not only on terrorism, but other laws that might be misconstrued. I think the main cause of this dissent is because of misinformation. There are a number of issues that I've seen on social media that are not in the law. Most of what they are saying is not in the law. Probably those who started the ball rolling against the anti-terrorism law is just against either against government, or they're afraid it might be abused. But there are proper safeguards. As a matter of fact, the law is flooded with safeguards. That's why I'm very confident that the Supreme Court will not strike it down.
The CBCP, Senate President, very recently issued a pastoral statement regarding what they call is a pattern of intimidation detrimental to the freedom of expression. This is with regards to the anti-terror law and, of course, the shutdown of ABS-CBN. Having the CBCP coming out with a quite strongly worded pastoral statement, again, isn't it time to maybe look into the concern or the fear of some, sir?
I don't know why they're associating the ABS-CBN problem with the anti-terrorism law. It doesn't have anything to do with that at all. Now, the point being raised that I read was that it is against freedom of expression or freedom of assembly, or it means they have not read the bill. the law, I mean, they have not specifically centered on Section 4 of the law. Because if you do, you will see that that is the catch-all safeguard for all these type of freedoms that they are mentioning. Very clear. We made it a point that shall not, maliwanag. When you use shall in the law, it means it's imperative. It shall not include advocacy, protest, dissent, stoppage of work, industrial or mass action, and other similar exercises of civil and political rights. Maliwanag yun eh. Pag sinabi mo, you're worried like which are not intended to cause death or serious physical harm to a person, then it causes physical death. No, it's not classified as that. If you're having a protest or a rally and there is a riot and some people get hurt, and the people who to blame will be charged in the revised penal code, not in the anti-terror law. That's very specific. They should read it.
What you're basically saying, SP, is that what isn't considered terrorism, as you read a while ago, which forms part of Section 4, which is under what are the, who can be tagged as terrorists, what are the acts of terrorism. There are a number of those, and then dun po sa ilalim nun, dun nakasulat yung provided that terrorism, as defined in this section, shall not include advocacy, protest, dissent, stoppage of work, etc. So very clearly, what you're trying to tell me, sir, because this was also a question in my mind, pag nagkaroon po ng rally, protesta on a particular issue. Nagkagulo po dun sa protestang yun. Meron pong, sadly, unfortunately, may namatay o meron pong nasaktan. This, you're saying, will not fall in any way or form as an act of terrorism.
No, not at all. It is very clear, very specific. In order to be considered an act of terrorism, the intent and purpose taken must be established. No, so performance of the enumerated acts without the underlying purpose, any act without the underlying purpose of the terrorism, you will fall, or the violations will be under the revised penal code or other special laws, not as acts of terrorism. That is very clear.
Which leads me to my next question. I know that you were saying this, Senator Ping Lacson was saying this as well, yung pong intent or purpose. The question, sir, is who decides what the intent is and the purpose? Because that would be subjective.
No, the answer is the situation. They're blaming, they say, no, it's going to be the Anti-Terrorism Council that will say, no. The facts, what happens or what happened will determine, and that will be the courts to determine, not the Anti-Terrorism Council. The Anti-Terrorism Council has no power to do that. So that, again, that's another mistake by those who are against the Anti-Terrorism Council, which has been there since 2003. The Anti-Terrorism Council is already there since the Human Security Act, which was as they said,
2007.
Dead letter law.
Right. Right. The Human Security Act of 2007. So the intent and purpose, SP, yan po will be determined by the courts. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, let me just add this. While it is being considered by the court for judgment, sir, what happens to these people who are part of this protest or this rally that there was harm, bodily injury, or death? Makukulong sila.
There are specific laws, special laws already in the revised penal code that covers all that. It will not fall under terrorism. I think that's the point that most of them are saying na ika-classify agad lahat sa terrorism. Sila nagka-classify eh.
Opo.
Hindi naman yung batas eh. The ones who are saying against the law are the ones who are saying that they can be classified under the anti-terrorism law. It's not. They are not going to be classified as far as the law is concerned. Sila nagka-classify ng sarili nila, nakasama sila sa terrorism, but they're not. Even on the first day that the protests were coming out, I saw some person holding a placard saying, "Activism is not terrorism." But sabi ko, sinong gago may sabing terrorism ang activism? Hindi ba? Wala naman nagsasabing gano'n. It's not even in the law.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, activism is not already. Ang liwanag eh. Ang liwanag, nasa batas eh. Hindi kasama eh. Kaya, talagang ang tingin ko, ano lang eh. Pinakamaganda na is for us to wait for the decision of the Supreme Court, because we're very confident that if they read through the law and look into the records of the journal of both houses of Congress, they will see that it is a very, sabi nga, plain sight law that is targeted specifically for terrorism. Because terrorism in the country today is at its peak, especially in the South.
SP, when you talk about activism is not terrorism, and you're saying that very clear, activism is not terrorism, here's one point that could be raised. I don't know if you saw this, SP, ano po, pero yung pong Malay-Balay police, they released an infographics on social media that pointed to people who were rallying for press freedom, for the franchise of ABS-CBN as engaged in terrorism. I don't know if you saw this. If you didn't, let me tell you what it looks like. It's a collage of people. Did you see that, sir? Ang sabi po dito, so it's a collage of people, sir. Yung isa po, the Malay-Balay police, sir. Pero they apologize for this. They posted this on social media. And let me just read to you, sir. So meron po sila mga placards, defend press freedom, no to ABS-CBN shutdown. And then on the side, sir, it says this, malalaman mong sila ay para sa terorismo. Papatulan lahat ng issue basta laban sa gobyerno.
Sino nagsabi nun? Sino?
It was posted, sir, on Facebook. Yung isang Malay-Balay police, sir, tapos there.
Hindi ba? We should not believe everything we see in Facebook. And then the guy who placed that was playing safe because he used the word parang. The way you read it, sabi ko, sabi parang. And therefore, he already, he places a doubt already in his statement. Parang lang pala eh.
Ang sinabi po niya, no, not parang, sir. Malalaman mong sila ay para sa terorismo. Papatulan lahat ng issue basta laban sa gobyerno. That's what he said, sir. Okay. I'm gonna send that to you through Viber.
Sige. But again, as I said, no, huwag natin patulan lahat na nakikita natin sa Facebook. It is not government who said that. It is not the courts who said that. On the issue of terrorism, the courts are supreme. Very, very clear in the law.
But it's also true, SP hindi huba, it's the police that will implement it.
I mean, the police are?
Isn't it also true, sir, that ang police po ang mag-i-implement nito?
Depende. Because more specifically in the South, it's the armed forces, the AFP. Yes, of course, when it comes to peace and order, the police will be involved. But may pananagutan sila. Mas mahigpit ang pananagutan ngayon nila. Di ba? Oras na nagkamali sila. As a matter of fact, what we incorporated This is not found in any other anti-terrorism law in the world. It's only in the Philippines, this kind of safeguard, which says that if a person is arrested for terrorism, he must be the arresting officer must inform immediately a court, the nearest court, and the Commission on Human Rights. Ano? And if he does not, hindi lang siya sasabi, pati yung superiors niya sasabi. So, this is the only provision that can be found only in the anti-terror law of the Philippines, not in the other parts of the world. The other countries, they're stricter than ours. Yung atin ang pinaka-conservative. Nagtataka nga ako bakit may mga nakikisamang mga foreigner na nagko-complain. They're even coming out against the anti-terror law of the Philippines. When their anti-terrorism law, their homeland security laws are much harsher, are harsher, harsher than ours. And then mas longer yung mga detention nila. So it's really, this is something else. I think it's anti-government ang mas nakakarami.
I guess you're referring to SP dun sa at least 45 American lawmakers who have actually called on the Philippine government to immediately repeal this controversial Anti-Terrorism Act, sir. Yan po yung sinasabi nyo na sa homeland.
Correct. Not only that, meron ding mga PhilArms or may mga Australian arms, Australian Filipinos na ang iniisip nila pinipintasan yung anti-terror law ng Pilipinas, samantalang yung anti-terrorism law ng Australia ay mas mahigpit. Lalo na nga yung sa US, no? These US congressmen must investigate their homeland security law where they can be arrested by the mere itsura pa lang. Pag hindi nagustuhan ng itsura mo, pwede kang arestuhin. And then, you will be brought to even Guantanamo Bay. Hindi papaalam sa korte. Hindi katulad ng atin. At saka, ano nangyayari doon? May waterboarding, meron kung ano-ano. Kung ano-anong ginagawang torture. Meron ba sa atin noon? Pero maliwanag doon sa Homeland Security Law nila, ang higpit. Why are these congressmen not centering on their laws that they have? Why pick on the Philippines? When we are the most conservative anti-terror law in the world. They want us to remain as the haven of terrorists. That's what's happening now. It's pretty much like what happened to the issue of drug trafficking. Since the time that we removed the death penalty in the Philippines, when it comes to high-level or drug trafficking, we became the haven of these manufacturers of illegal drugs. Sapagkat all other countries around us, like Malaysia, Singapore, China, Thailand, all these, they have the death penalty for drug trafficking. Ayaw lang wala. So what do? They manufacture it. So, in the same way, as a terrorism, if you will recall, there are a number of terrorists and terrorism acts, terror acts that have happened in this part of Asia, and they jumped off from the Philippines. You can check with the AFP if you're not familiar with these reports from the intelligence or the ISAP.
Okay. SP, just one last question or concern regarding this topic before we go on and shift to another one. It's a comment from Facebook from Martin Aviles on the anti-terrorism. Ang sabi po niya, it's a question of trust. The people do not trust the government. Would you like to respond to this, SP?
Well, yes, it's very subjective. The fellow is right. Those who are protesting against the law do not trust the government. It's as simple as that. He's correct. No, but we should not. We must not must not mistrust our government. Hintayin mo muna kung makita natin may hindi ginawang masama. Di ba? Madali yan eh. I have an answer for this eh. The same answer that I gave when the people were complaining about BARM. Yung nirereklamo nila na baka daw pag ginawang autonomous yung BARM and all that, tapos we're giving them 75 billion a year. Dami ng reklamo. Baka mangyari, bibili lang ng armas. We even placed the safeguards already, but they say that it's trust, It's because of trust. Mm-hmm. So I said, the answer is simple. Repeal. It's only a law. It's not in the Constitution. Repeal natin. Therefore, what I'm saying, as far as the anti-terror law is concerned, pag nakita natin inabuso, and we mistrust the government in implementing and executing this, then repeal the law. Pero now, andun pa lang tayo,
we'll be taking
tayo sa implementation. We're trying to catch up with the rest of the world, because in the rest of the world, tayo lang ang kasama, Philippines lang, in this part of the world, ang kasama doon sa top 10 na ang kapitbahay natin doon sa as far as cuddling terrorists are concerned. That's the way they term it, is Iran, Iraq, Congo, Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Philippines. Kasama tayo doon. Because hindi natin sinaharap yung problema ng terrorism at yung Human Security Act natin after so many years, 18 years ba? Iisa lang ang conviction. At saka yung conviction na yun, ay mukhang nakapag-bail pa. So, tingnan muna natin. Again, let us not try to mistrust our government.
SB will be taking a very short break. We'll be discussing about the ABS-CBN franchise and, of course, government's response on COVID-19 with the Senate President Tito Sotto. We'll be right back. Watching The Source on CNN Philippines, our guest today, Senate President Tito Sotto. Just very briefly, sir, yung pong sa ABS-CBN, meron pa po ba kayong nakikitang legal remedies for ABS-CBN, or is this the end for them, sir?
It's all it's all in the hands of the House of Representatives. It's very clear in the Constitution. Private bills must emanate from the House of Representatives exclusively. The word in the Constitution is exclusively. And a franchise of a company, of a broadcast station, a company, is a private bill. So it's in their hands. The bills that have been filed on the ABS franchise, I think, were tabled by the committee. So it's only in the hands of the House of Representatives. The Senate cannot do anything about it. Even the Executive Department can't do anything about it. It's their prerogative, specified by the Constitution.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk, though, SB. I know we need to jump into other topics, though. Just very briefly, there's a lot of talk. May lumabas po na Zoom meeting, si Cong Defensor Marcoleta, Congressman Boying Remulla, a lot of things, sir. A possible workers takeover, pwede daw magkaisa yung mga empleyado, i-petition sa Presidente at NTC, and pwede daw sila magpatakbo. Siguro, and napag-usapan din, sir, yung pong sinasabing titulo ng ABS. And another thing is Congressman Marcoleta was talking about the black boxes, na kung pagmumultahin daw ng NTC ang ABS dun sa black boxes, basta sir, the long and short is they would have to pay 1.97 trillion pesos, ABS-CBN at that, sir. What do you make of all this? Do you feel that this needs to be something to be pursued, if at all, sir, if there are concerns or alleged violations, SP?
I think what I can say is that they should concentrate on ABS, the corporation, should concentrate on the reconstitution of their land title. Because when I was vice mayor of Quezon City, in 1989 or 1990, there was a fire in the Quezon City Hall. There was a fire, and the 8th floor ba? 7th floor? 8th floor? I'm not sure now. It's ages ago. But the entire floor of the Register of Deeds was burned down. That was what happened. As a matter of fact, during that time, I was the acting mayor. Mayor Simon was abroad. After that, Quezon City residents and real property owners were asked to reconstitute. As a matter of fact, my properties or my house in the land of my wife in Quezon City, we had to reconstitute. It took us 1 or 2 years, but the local governments then made representations with the Register of Deeds to facilitate it. Kasi dati court ang reconstitution, but we had a specific ordinance to allow such and such. We asked the national government to allow an easy reconstitution. Those were 30 years ago. They should have reconstituted. Para nawala yung isang problema nila katulad yan. So, and there are other issues. I'm not too familiar with it because I have really tried to avoid dipping my finger into the issue or the controversy because once it reaches us, then it'll be part of our jurisdiction. Kaya mas mabuting hindi kami nagsasalita kung tutusin.
Opo. I think SB ang sinabi niyo lang that if magkaroon ng People's Initiative, ang sabi niyo, pipirma kayo.
Yeah, because ang sinasabi ko, I really doubt the possibility because the People's Initiative does not include private bills.
Yeah.
A franchise of a certain company or corporation is a private bill. Kaya, so, kung makahanap sila ng paraan. Because I already told them that if it reaches the Senate, I will vote in favor of the franchise. That's why I said, so if you think you can get a People's Initiative on this, which I really seriously doubt, it's not part of the Constitution, it's not allowed. But if so, all right, I'll sign.
Well, all right. I wish we had more time, no, SP, pero as usual, naubusan na po na tayo ng oras. But thank you for giving us your feedback on those two topics. We will have the Senate President on our SONA on the source. Just watch out for that. We want to look into the Senate's priorities and, of course, what he thinks about the government's response on COVID-19. In the meantime, SP, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
All right, Pinky. Sige, thank you very much also. Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.